This is Beyond the Green Screen, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Arizona's Family First Alert Weather Beyond the Green Screen podcast. This is where we take you beyond the green screen, kind of behind it, around it, on the side of it, to kind of tell you what's happening inside our forecast office here at the First Alert Forecast Center, and different topics that may or may not be weather related. And I have got a great podcast today. This is how to allergy-proof your car. I mean, let's face it, we spend so much time inside our cars. We want it to be as healthy as possible, and you won't believe the tricks that I'm about to tell you. So what am I doing right now? This is a little side note. When we did this podcast, we had a little bit of a different name. So we had a name change. So you are listening. You are in the right place. This is Arizona's Family First Alert Weather Beyond the Green Screen. I'm Sean Mclaughlin, and welcome to How to Allergy-Proof Your Car. And I'm being joined right there across the desk, Glen Hayward from Good Works Auto Repair in Tempe. Glen, it's an honor to meet you finally in person. I know Charlotte and I have been friends for years, but you're part of the NARPro network of great auto repair shops all across the valley. Tell us a little bit about that, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been in the auto repair business. I hail from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
There you go.
And, even back there, I had allergies. But once I got to the valley here, people used to move to Arizona because their allergies would go away. Then they moved all the trees and shrubs and everything from back home, and we're back in allergy town again.
Us Midwesterners, we like our trees, we like our grass.
Yes, sir. So NARPro is a neighborhood auto repair professionals, and there's about 5 shops around town which have been handpicked to be some of the best, most honest, most integral shops in the entire valley.
Nice.
And we're all award-winning shops, and we're just proud to be members of NARPro. NARPro started about 17 years ago, and we had, vetted a whole bunch of shops. Right. And we ended up with the ones that we ended up with. And so it's exciting to be part of that group. And Good Works Auto Repair was founded 20 years ago with 3 bays, and now it's grown to 15 bays in the 20 years we've been in existence.
Wow. And you know what you're talking about, because every day, not only are you giving great advice to your customers, I'm just going to admit this right now, I'm really new to the podcast world, and you're a veteran, you and your buddy Dave.
Dave Martin from Martin's Auto Repair on Indian School and 16th Street. Amazing guy. Loved him. When I decided I wanted to do a podcast, Dave was my first choice. He and I just get along. We both have a great sense of humor.
Right.
And we can laugh at ourselves and laugh at things that happen in the auto repair industry.
Our podcasters, aren't we supposed to have beef between each other under the hood versus whether or not your First Alert Weather podcast? Isn't that how it goes in the podcast world?
Sometimes, but Dave and I have been in the same industry. His business has been in business for over 50 years. His father started it. And, Dave's got spina bifida, and he's in a wheelchair, and he runs one of the most amazing shops in town.
Never lets it stop him, right?
Never. Nothing stops the guy.
You know what? This title, How to Allergy-Proof Your Car. I didn't even realize there is such a thing, but it's really basically defined by the place that we live, the Valley of the Sun. And you said it. We don't have a lot of native plants here because of our population growth. And we do have an allergy, and we do have a pollen problem each and every year. And millions of people suffer from it.
Right. Well, part of what attributes to that is that we don't get much rain here to wash down the allergens and all the stuff that's in the air that we breathe every day.
Preaching to the choir.
And so, when that stuff isn't getting buried in the ground, it's floating around the air. And we get a lot of dust storms here, the haboobs or whatever you want to call them,
right?
Heavy-duty dust storms. They put jillions of particulates in the air that can cause all kinds of problems. Hay fever, valley fever, all kinds of things that can come from that.
Yeah, it's really annoying for people. But when people think about their car, they don't really think about allergies and pollen. So let's just dive right into it. How do we allergy-proof our car? Here we are in springtime. This is when the pollens are really starting to explode around the valley. Are we literally riding around with pollen stuck to our car?
Yeah, not only stuck to your car in the exterior, but guess what? It comes in the vents, it comes in the windows when you're not using your air conditioner. And even when you're using your air conditioner, there are some filters that are in your vehicle that actually help protect you and trap those allergens in and reduce the possibilities of breathing those in.
Okay, so that's a great place to start. And again, for our listeners, we're going to kind of show a couple of things and we'll describe them as best we can. And again, you can see this podcast on the AZ Family YouTube channel. So let's start there. There's an actual filter inside your car that a lot of people don't even know about.
Right. So I've got a couple of props here I'm going to bring out, and this is what they call a cabin air filter. Now, these come in two varieties. I mean, they're all different shapes and sizes, but this one actually has activated charcoal built into the filter, and so you can see it's kind of grayish.
Right.
Most of them are bright white, and they don't have that same characteristic, and not all cars have a charcoal activated charcoal filter available for them. So this is only for certain vehicles.
So for our listeners on our podcast, he's describing an object that looks like your typical AC filter, but miniaturized. It looks like about the size of a piece of paper with the same sort of corrugated pieces of fabric.
Pleating
That you would see like in your home air filter, like one you have in your bedroom. They actually have one inside your car, no matter the make or the model. And that's my next question. Where in the heck is this thing located?
Most of them are behind the glove compartment. So you have to remove the glove compartment door, at least lower it, and access the door that houses this in a cavity in the dash.
Right. And a mechanic like you knows exactly how to do this. You can do it at home if you read your owner's manual, but it's an indoor cabin air filter, usually pleated. All right. So show us the before and the after, because this is going to blow your mind.
Get ready and don't become nauseous as I'm showing this to you.
Oh my gosh.
This has dog hair, leaves, spider webs. I mean, whatever your car's blower can suck in, it goes into this filter before.
Tilt that for the camera for our YouTube viewers.
Before it goes into the ductwork and exposes you to it. So imagine if you didn't have a filter in your car, this debris would be going up in the air and you'd be breathing it into your lungs and into your nasal passages and creating quite the allergic reaction to it. So a new filter will trap these things, and when this filter becomes as plugged as this, it actually slows the blower down. So if you notice you're driving your car and the ducts pressure, it's like I got the thing on high and I can barely feel anything coming out of the ducts. Your cabin filter probably looks like this.
That is a really, really good point. I never thought of the airflow, restricting your airflow in and around your cabin.
It's a slow process. It's not like one day it's fine and the next day it's plugged. It goes down, down, down. So you're really not feeling it until it's like, I don't feel any air coming out of my ducts, and they start moving the ducts around to see, the pressure's the same at the floor and the defrost as it is coming at the ducts coming at you. And this is your problem right here.
Wow. Now, in your professional opinion, how often do we have to change these?
They say about every 10 to 15,000 miles, again, depending on conditions, because if you're sucking and if you go through a haboob driving your car, you could plug this thing in a matter of hours.
You want to get rid of that thing.
And so a reliable shop will always check these every time you come in for an oil change, and they'll recommend based on the condition. We do what we call a digital inspection, as most really good repair shops do. We'll show you a picture of it if you're not sitting in the lobby, and if you're sitting in the lobby waiting for your car, we'll bring it out and show it to you. And it's usually so disgusting, you say, yes, please change that.
Right. And we're not talking about a lot of money here, right?
No, these run between $15 and $20.
That is really good advice. And again, all makes and models vary, but it's usually underneath the dash, somewhere near the glove compartment.
Yes, some of them are actually, in most Nissan models, they put it on the transmission hump, that's what we call it, between the two seats, and it's stuffed up in a ductile, which is very hard to access, and it's kids do not try this at home kind of thing.
Man. That is crazy.
You'll mangle the filter trying to install it if you don't know what you're doing.
And it has to go a certain way, doesn't it?
Yes. It has arrows on it that show you which direction there is. See, here it says airflow, and there's an arrow on it.
So show that to the camera right there.
Yep. This is out of a Volkswagen or Audi product. As you can see, the Audi insignia on there, but there's an arrow that says airflow. So you have to figure out your blower is below there, so it's sucking the air downward and then going through the ducting system of your vehicle.
Just like when you change your filters at home for your AC or heater. All right, let's stay with the air quality because we got a couple more tips for people vacuuming. Why is that important during allergy season?
Well, it's because these particulates don't just fly through the air and go out the windows or something, or get, and not all of them get trapped in the filter necessarily if you have your windows open. So these allergens are landing in your carpet, they're landing on your upholstery, they're landing in the headliner. So vacuuming your car and getting those particulates vacuumed out of there is really important. And some people might say, well, I don't have a vacuum cleaner that does that. The car wash does, and it's free. So you don't even have to have a car wash. Just pull into the vacuum section and start vacuuming underneath your seats as well, because that's where all the dog hair, cat hair, whatever, if you have animals or kids, you know, that are sneezing or whatever, you want to get that stuff sucked out of the vehicle.
And Glenn, another thing that you suggest for people is, you know, when you go to the car wash, you know, Superstar especially gives you one of those packets, one of those antibacterial wipe downs.
Yes.
Why is it important to wipe down your dash?
Because it's very difficult to vacuum it, for one, because there's no brush on the thing. So using these wipes will actually collect all those particulates, and they'll stick in the material on the wipe that they give you.
That's amazing. That is really good advice. Your next piece of advice, again, we are talking about how to allergy-proof your car with Glen Hayward from Good Works Auto Repair down there in Tempe. And this is the Whether or Not First Alert podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching us. We're talking about how to allergy-proof your car. Let's go to windows. What is your advice about our car windows?
Well, windows here get fogged up because if you don't have a dash mat on your vehicles with one of those little carpet pieces that you can buy custom for your dash, those can trap allergens in them, but not having one, the heat from the sun actually starts to, permeate the vinyl that's on your dash.
Absolutely.
It attaches it. So if you see that foggy mess on your windshield, it's because your dash is actually evaporating and attaching itself to the glass.
Wow. So you want to wipe those pollutants basically off your windows.
Correct.
And when we're driving around in these springtime seasons, I notice that, like, I'll wipe my hand across the hood and bingo, there is that yellow pollen from all the trees that we have here. Right. How important is it to keep your car not only clean, but waxed? Because isn't it static electricity? That's what's attaching those pollen or particulate matters to your paint?
Right. As your paint gets older, it loses its resilience of being able to, keep those things flowing off of the paint.
Clear coat.
And the dirtier your car is, the more those things attach themselves to your hood, to your roof, to whatever, any part of the painted
That
vehicle.
is really good advice. Let's finish up this podcast. Again, this is how to allergy-proof your car with that air quality issue, because that's the most, I think, the biggest takeaway our listeners and our viewers can is that to change that cabin filter with that trusted mechanic that you have. What about the air quality? What setting should we have our air conditioning on or our system on during this pollen season? People don't understand that little button that has the airflow. Can you explain that for us?
Yeah, it's called the recirculation door. And when you push the button, it closes the door and closes off the outside air, and it recirculates the same air inside the cabin of your vehicle. So closing that off just recirculates that air, and it doesn't allow those pollens and stuff to get in. They'll still get trapped in the cabin air filter, but they're not going to be blowing into your face and all over your car.
Right. All right, Glenn, you've been a fantastic. My first podcast. How do you think I did? Give me a grade.
You did fantastic. I'd give you a good solid A-.
A-. All right. All right. I love that, Glenn.
He's a virgin. I mean, what am I supposed to do?
I appreciate that. Listen, we're going to do another podcast. Why don't we tease ahead? We're going to tell you how to summarize. Is that a good word?
Summer-proof.
Summer-proof. How to summer-proof your car.
Summarize is, making a summary of what we're about to say.
That's right. So this is why I have the expert right next to me, Glen Hayward from Good Works Auto Repair in Tempe. He's part of the NARPro network of trusted automobile repair shops here in the Valley. Because if we're not looking out for each other, we're not a great society, right?
Absolutely. NARPro.com is the website. You can find the NARPro shop near you.
All right. Appreciate it. Hey, if you are first-time listeners to our First Alert Whether or Not podcast, tell a friend, like and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget, we showed a lot of different visual aids. That indoor cabin filter, if you don't know what that is, I want you to go to the AZ Family YouTube channel. Just on YouTube, punch in AZ Family. Look for this podcast about how to allergy-proof your car. Just punch it on. I know you've already listened to it, but you can scrub ahead and look at these filters. Gross. This is what you're breathing. This is what you're breathing. Make your family, yourself, your husband, your wife happy inside your car. It's where we spend the majority of our time. And change that cabin air filter, wipe down that upholstery, make sure your vacuum, check your windows, put your vent on the right thing. This is why we're here. Glenn's gave you great advice. Thanks for listening.
This is Beyond the Green Screen, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.